to present to you a very powerful and new feature that ties into the ACT environment, allowing you to learn a lot more about your prospect and customer interests and opportunities for making a sale. And we'll be talking and focusing on a little bit of both the navigation and the ability to see within your website the kinds of things people have looked at. My name is Steve Pearl. I'm in the product development side and I'm part of that team. And we're very excited to also have with us our lead in our sales area, Tim Miley, who's going to be joining us as well and may bring some additional comments and insights on the use of this capability in the sales process. We expect our webinar this morning to go about 20 minutes or so, so it's going to be a short and very focused presentation on this capability of IntelliClick. I'm going to move over here and just look at what our agenda will be for today. We're going to talk a little bit about IntelliClick and its website tracking options. I will briefly explain IntelliClick overall for those of you who may have never seen or heard of the product before, but our real focus today is on the piece dealing with how we help you read people's digital body language as they browse your website from any email campaign sent through IntelliClick. We'll then also have a little demonstration looking in ACT and seeing exactly what kind of behavior is tracked and how it's tracked inside of ACT and what you're able to then do because of the information that's placed there. So I'm going to start off first by talking about some new features we offer that deal with web tracking. The first actually was a slight enhancement to our ability to track across many different databases. So if you have multiple ACT databases, we do have the ability to track behavior for any emails being sent from the database, and not only track that they've clicked or opened messages, but that what they've done on your website tied back to that specific database. So we now are able to uniquely identify which database the information being tracked belongs to and make sure it gets updated in real time. That version of our product does license separately or a little bit differently if you want to take advantage of multiple databases. And so those of you who might be in that situation and decide if you're going to use our product can certainly inquire about multi-database if it applies to your environment. The other thing, of course, we're very excited to now feature is the OnClick web page link tracking. What we really mean by that is that not only can we now tell you who moves from page to page, what they look at as they navigate your website, but we can now start to track what they do within the page. And what we mean by that is many times you may have certain links that either will take them to looking at a video or to download a particular document. It might also send them off to other websites, to other people that you work closely with, and you refer them to other places that are no longer your website. In all of those situations, you can now set a link to be tracked at the time of click, even though it's not a browsing of your website. So the viewing of the video is probably one of the more typical applications to know not only if they went to a page, but what they then viewed. And you'll be seeing examples today where I go to a page with numerous videos that we make available and being able to determine once somebody's on that page which videos they actually watched. You can see how that is a much deeper level of tracking people's behavior. And the key benefit to all of this tracking is that it ultimately gives you an insight into what people are really interested in and how interested they are, because our tracking doesn't just stop the first time they get to your site. We continue to see that information flow back into ACT when they come back to your website days, weeks, or even months later. So it's an ongoing tracking. A lot of it kind of has some similarity, those of you who are acquainted with Google Analytics, where people keep coming back and it's tracking. But the difference with ours is that we're tracking the actual individual, the person, the email campaign that drove them to your site, and the specific day, time, and either document, video, or pages being looked at. Ultimately, all that gets compiled into some really good analytics so that we can help surface for you some of your best and hottest leads based on this behavior. We'll apply some scoring to that behavior to really help identify who are your best opportunities, your top 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever you want to be able to view at any moment, and then hand off to your salespeople for follow-up. So what we're going to do now is let's just take a little bit of a look at how this all works within our ACT environment. And so what I'm going to do is quickly just bring up our product, speak very briefly again about what is IntelliClick in general. IntelliClick, as you can see when it has been installed in the ACT environment, gives you the ability to manage the sending of an email campaign, a tracked campaign, but everything is being done from within your own environment. It will be reading the ACT database. It will be using templates that you build, perhaps using our HTML template editor. We have an online editor we provide you, or ones you've already created, whether they be created in any other editors such as SwiftPage, Constant Contact, or things you've had developed for you by your web or people that are doing HTML code for you. The good news is that whichever way they're built, and by the way, let me also add that you can also be using ACT templates. So even a very basic ACT template can take care of initiating the tracking behavior to people opening, clicking, and then ultimately browsing your site. So not a lot of sophistication is needed to really take advantage of a very powerful tool in the area of digital marketing. Now, our tool, as you could see, has a module menu where we provide you the elements to start the campaign and set intelligence on the links for that campaign. Each hyperlink you set up has intelligence to decide whether it alerts, whether it possibly sends other types of information to people. You can have a click that can fulfill literature, have people register for events, schedule phone calls, update your database into different fields, which for a lot of people that can be a simple way to do surveying, for instance, where you're trying to get a response on a particular question. You can have it simply be a single click to respond and update the field in ACT, and then trigger other things within ACT using smart tasks or dynamic groups. So all that capability is intelligence you can create on a hyperlink. We then offer a little area for sending. The IntelliSend module gives you a very powerful tool that allows you to actually pull any group or individual and then tie a particular template, whether it's an ACT template or an HTML template, to that email send and execute a merge and begin the tracking process after they get the messages. Our HTML area does permit you to use our HTML editor. Probably worth just popping in there to just show you that the editor that comes with our tool is really a very robust editor, a lot of templates, over 900 of them, the ability to see how they render in various types of platforms, devices, and email clients, and really the ability to very easily and quickly build even things right from scratch based on formatting and pulling up imagery right from your computer added here, and most importantly, having templates that are branded uniquely to your company. Nothing represents any other company in the process. If you look at many of our competitors, if you wish to call them that in the industry, they're usually putting some footers that will have information about their company, whether that's Constant Contact, SwiftPage, or otherwise. And really, in this case, you're really just not getting a pure branded message of your own. In our case, it is all pure and only your branding as you create things. Very nice. We do have the ability to import templates, and that import area does allow you to browse to an HTML file that's been created with other tools and bring it in for use on our side as well. Let me go back over to ACT and further to show you some other activity. So in the case of IntelliClick and its tracking, I'm going to pull up a group of people. And just to make it very easy for myself, I'm going to first connect to the database. In this case, I'm only showing a single database connection. I'm going to tell it to just merge to my entire system. I'm going to pull up all contacts and pick the email field that is going to be used for this merge. So if you have multiple email fields in ACT, we will automatically display the different fields you have available, and you pick for this particular mailing which field is to be used for the email addresses. We then display for you the total number of recipients that are going to be receiving the messages. This number is actually already eliminating anybody who's unsubscribed from any of your past emails. So we're making sure that you're actually abiding by CAN-SPAM legislation and sending to people who have not asked to be removed from mailings. Here's where you choose the type of template. For today's demonstration, I'm going to use an actual HTML file. Browse to the folder where that file exists on my computer. And I'm going to give it a subject line, and this is, of course, the kind of subject that I get to dictate what it says. So in this case, we'll just say, imagine doing this with your email campaigns. After building these links, we've already saved the name of the campaign all those links tie to, so I'm now associating the send to that same campaign, which allows us to then keep track of all the statistics of the number of recipients that have received the campaign, and then tell you the success that you've had against it, the ratio of people that have opened, clicked, and all the other behaviors that we track. We do give you the ability to set up unlimited number of send from accounts. So in this case, I could say that I'm going to have this go from our sales director, Tim Miley, but I can have numerous send froms, and on any given send that to a particular group on behalf of that salesperson. I can schedule it if I wish and set a date and time for the send. I can also throttle it. And our account that we provide, we do give you a server to send through, does have a limit of 3,000 emails per hour. There's no limits on how much you send per day up to the quota of emails you have on the account you get with us. And that quota is one that you can actually dictate the size of and set that level. It starts at 15,000 emails per month, and for $1 a thousand, you can up that quota to whatever level you actually need. I can now preview exactly who is the list of people that is about to receive this mailing. So this is showing all the people that are in the mailing, and then I can click on a particular individual to take a look at what the message will look like. So in this case, why don't let's pick somebody here. Really, we'll just go ahead and grab this one right here, and this is John Guild. And the reason I'm checking the name is because I'm actually going to do all of this behavior without actually sending a message anywhere, although I can send it as a test to myself or my colleagues if I want to test this message and do something internally to see that everything we expect it to do will work. I also have the ability to test it right from this window, which is a browser showing me what that message will look like. It's showing me that it has merged in information about John in the placeholders that I set. It has various tracking behavior. The one we're going to focus on today is going to be a click to the website and then subsequent pages browsed and subsequent links and videos activated or accessed during this session. So here I have the actual email ready to be either sent or tested. I'm going to go and click on the IntelliClick modules to go into the browser window. And that has just launched my browser. And now I actually have started the process of tracking behavior on this site. I'm going to move over here to our webinars page. And that's bringing up a list of various webinars. So this is an example where we have various recordings on our website that people can click to watch the recording. These happen to be YouTube recordings. I'm going to go ahead and click on this first one, and it brings me over to my YouTube page where I can now watch the video. Let's go back over to ACT, and let me again make note of who that was. So this was John Guild. So I'm going to look up John in my system, because really everything I was just doing was emulating John as the person. And so Let me just do a quick little refresh to make sure. So now we can see that from what I've just done, I can see that he opened the message, he clicked to our features page, then he moved on and went to our recordings page and watched the IntelliClick overview webinar. So you could see how it's actually giving me the name that I've set that little video to be called, and that's what's being tracked in the history. So I'm able to see the sequence of steps he's taken and what he's looked at. Now if I go back over to the web page, so I'm back over here, and we'll pretend that John decides to look at other information. So let's say he decides he wants to look at the rules of engagement and how to best leverage SEO and email marketing together. I'm going to click on that video. That launches my other video recording on YouTube, and really within seconds you will see that it will update and here it is. It has updated the history in ACT to say that he's taken that next browse. So it's showing me a date, a time, and the exact videos that he's been watching. These could have just as easily been a click to download a white paper PDF file. It could have been to send him off to other places. Maybe perhaps if you collaborate with other companies and you want to refer them to that company, at least you now have a record of a lead or a name that you have referenced over to their website and now can report on that and know what type of lead generation you're sending to these other affiliates you might be working with. Lots of different ways to apply it, but really the power of it is the immediacy of seeing this, so that if you use, for instance, our alerts tied to a click that tell your salesperson, and by the way, that can be dynamic, so that if, for instance, I have set fields where I identify my rep information, I can dynamically alert the rep assigned to the account instantly at the time somebody goes to a particular page on our site. So that immediacy of knowing somebody's there, being able to then go to the history and actually see what they're looking at, well, how interested they are, and I can see it not only now, but if I open a browser tomorrow and return, it will continue to track, for me, John, all the behavior I'm doing. So I can really start to prioritize based on all the different people visiting our site, who's the most interested because of the amount of the frequency and the number of pages and hyperlinks accessed from any given campaign. So again, a much deeper level, the way we mentioned, we're digging deeper now by seeing a browse behavior, a behavior within the page, and so we're telling you a lot about what people's interests are through this tracking mechanism. Again, I'll go back one more time and decide to, let's say, look at the validation and template rendering capability of the product. I launch one video, and then literally within seconds of that taking place, I will be able to see that behavior right over here in ACT. I'm going to refresh it, and here's my email deliverability webinar now seen. So I can see that they've looked at 3 of our different videos. And I can even see how much time was spent because I can see the interval of time it took from them to go to each one of those videos. And potentially that gives me a sense, like for instance here, if I know that video is a 30-minute video and I'm only seeing a 2-minute difference, there's a good chance they decided not to watch that video but go on and look at something else and may have not finished it, at least not at that moment. They may come back and look at it later through the page that's on YouTube itself. I do want to leave this open also for questions, so if there are any questions, do feel free to post them in the questions area of the webinar. We'll be happy to answer them as we go along. I'm going to now go ahead and take a look at some of the reporting and what kind of metrics and measurements we actually have available to us through this. So I'm going to close my preview window here, and I'm going to go back to the wizard and go to the reporting section of our tool. And I typically like to look at one of these 2 reports as the 2 powerful ones to really help you use it to leverage and identify opportunities from your email campaigns. I'm going to start with the success ratio and tracking report. And when I go to this report, it's actually going to give me the opportunity to first say which campaign or campaigns I want to look at. So if I have numerous campaigns and I want to compare results of one or multiple, I can select which ones I want to have reported on. I can set the time frame I want it to look back to. So if I want to say I'm going to go back to the 1st of August through to today as the time frame, so I really want to look at people who have fairly recently responded to these campaigns. The people that are way further back may not be as hot, as excited as the ones who've had the behavior more recent. So I'm going to limit this to a 2-month or less than a 2-month time frame of measurement. And then I say, go ahead and read the data. It's now going to actually read that data directly from the logged results on our server. And so this is able to be, of course, run by anybody in the organization right from this menu. Now, what we have is a report that is giving me a breakdown on this particular campaign of both the total amount of emails were sent and what percentage of success we've had in terms of opens, clicks, and website visits. If I move to the next page, I get a graphical representation of that same information, get a quick sneak peek at that. And then I can actually drill into who were the specific people that clicked and what did they click on, shown in a date-time order. So there's John, of course, who is our most recent response, and he went to the features page. And then if I move on to some additional click pages, let's see here. He actually only had one click, of course. We only went to that one page, and then he went on and did some navigation. When I go to my navigation section, here's where I'm now able to very specifically see all the pages and the links to even my videos, breaking out the most recent people who have looked and browsed and accessed those links. So here I'm seeing John accessed our email deliverability webinar. Let's move over another page over here. And we should see John is also showing that, of course, he accessed the recordings page. Let's see here. This is also in alpha order. A nice way to see these also is right here. So if I click down here, this will take me to the section that shows the rules of engagement. Of course, John looked at that, and he also looked at our overview webinar. So you could see how it gives you a nice, quick, and immediate look and picture at who exactly has visited what they've watched, the date and time of that, and giving me a measurement overall. Now, for some of you, you might say, well, gosh, how do I compile this and really isolate who's had the greatest amount of interest so that I can really boil down these leads? And so that's where we use our top opportunity by campaign report to help sort of filter it down to some of the best opportunities to pursue. So I'm going to just show an example here where I'm going to use our report, and it does allow me to put some scoring around the results. So let me just show this a little more in detail. I'm going to again pick our Imagine campaign. I'm going to say I want to get my 5 hottest leads. So I wanted to isolate only the top 5. I'd like to see it for anybody that has shown response from the 1st of August through to today. And then we offer up some scoring that you can alter. So right now we're defaulting to a half point for an open. If you think an open and a click is equally important, you just simply set that to be a 1, and now I've said, to me, opening is just as important as if they click. So we sort of give you the ability to alter the scoring, but we've set this to sort of be in what we believe is a hierarchy that typically indicates levels of interest. So a browse to the site's a little bit more deeper level of interest than just a click. The request for literature, if you have introduced a lit request, is a higher level of engagement. If they sign up and register for an event from a click, a next level. And then finally, the ability to say, have somebody call me on a click, which is a phone call request. I would suggest that would be one of the highest levels of interest. They're now asking for direct engagement with you. But again, it is your call what weightings you set. When you run the report, this will come back and basically summarize for you with scoring exactly who the hottest leads are. So it takes their behavior that's been tracked and applies the scoring against that so that you can now take action on the ones that are the hottest leads. And you see these both in a numerical and graphical type representation. So very powerful way to quickly zero in and isolate the opportunities and be able to take the right steps and follow-ups based on tracked behavior in the system. I'm going to look back here now and see if we have any questions about IntelliClick in general, or specifically anything dealing with our web navigation and all the things that we've just shown you today. So far I see none. I'm going to also make sure that if any of you do have in the future some questions, Tim Miley, who is our Director of Business Development, would be a person you can speak to. Tim has an extensive amount of experience in the industry from prior jobs he's had. He's, of course, using our tool extensively in his own efforts to follow up, both on a one-off or mass send, depending on the different groups and audiences he's approaching about our product. But Tim's firsthand really experienced it, and Tim, I'm going to let Tim make a couple of comments about his own experience using this in the sales process. So Tim?
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure to be on with everyone this morning, and we certainly appreciate your interest in our product. I've been selling and training in the email marketing industry for almost 9 years now. And what I have found with our product here at IntelliClick is that we really have some game-changing technology for you. The marketplace has evolved over the last 5 to 7 years, and it's not enough today to know if someone has interacted with your email messaging. You need to know not only if they've interacted with it, but how they've interacted with it, and to be able to receive that information in real time. Steve has spoken very eloquently today about our click alert features and our web navigation and our OnClick feature set. This is game-changing technology for your sales group. The click alert features, as they hit your inbox, signal to your salespeople that folks are interacting with the email, that they've opened it. Not only have they opened it, but they've clicked through to the links that are in the body of the message. That's a trigger for your salespeople to reach out to those folks and engage them. Second of all, the web navigation feature set is extremely important as well, because now we can tell you where folks are going after they've clicked on the links in the body of those messages. Again, your salespeople can use this information to help them in their preparation for follow-up calls. The click alerts in real time come back to them. They know that folks are looking at the email message. The web navigation features and the OnClick feature set tell them what they're doing at different levels of or different pages of the website. These are tremendous tools that help shorten sales cycles. And really, folks, they provide your sales team with a new way to reach out and engage their prospects. Personal observations is that over the years, in following up off of various email campaigns that I've been involved with, you can receive a rather vanilla, generic type open click report, and then it's a matter of sorting through that and then beginning to make your follow-up calls with people. The odds of you being able to reach that person off of that type of a follow-up system at the moment that they're looking at your piece is very, very small. The follow-up phone call goes out. You talk to the person. If they take your call, they have to reappropriate their thought process to who you are, what your company is, and what your offering is. So again, it can make the follow-up process either extend a little further or it can make it a little more complicated. With our product, the click alerts, you know for a fact that they're on your page, that they're looking at your content. What better time to engage these folks than at the very moment that they're looking at your content and your different web pages? How I use this personally is when I get the click alert features, it hits my inbox. I know that somebody is looking at the content that I've sent to them. They've clicked into the links. But I'll actually give, before I make the follow-up call, I'll give it another 4, 5, 6 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, and also monitor the history section of that contact record in my ACT database to see whether or not there's any web navigation features that are taking place. Now again, click alerts happen in real time. The web nav is populated into your ACT history in real time. Those two features together give you a very powerful follow-up feature set. Click alerts, and then where else they're going to your website. And folks, there isn't a better time to follow up with people than when they're looking at your content. So it's a tool that we're using to help grow our own business, but we are finding that our customers that are using this tool, their sales team in particular, think this is just a fabulous tool for working with customers and closing more business.
Excellent.
I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that input. I do think it is great to always have the perspective of somebody actually benefiting from the tool, although it is our own and it's internal. I know you've definitely, seen results come from this. I can tell you we have testimonials on our website and other clients who have definitely found this to pay off very quickly after they've used it in their first few campaigns. And so certainly we hope that this is something those of you attending today will consider as an option to other tools you may be using today. I don't see any other questions posted at this time. I do thank everyone for attending. I hope this was informative. There is a recording that will be available, and we will make sure everyone receives a link for that should you want to share this with any of your other associates. And again, thank you very much for attending.